this is why you really came. You want to know where we were at. All right? The rest of this stuff was just the preaching that you had to put up with to hear where are we at. All right? Well, I'm telling you, we're the victims of the national economy. Okay? I wish I could tell you that there were 6 trucks right outside of town here with bulldozers on them ready to start pushing dirt to build plants. It's just not true. Okay? The problem that we're having, and this is as a nation, is that because of this economic downturn, and you can argue about, was it the bank's fault, was it the government's fault, whose fault it was, it really doesn't matter. The problem is, that deal about we're in the ditch, how are we going to get out? That's the issue. And most of these companies right now are working to put their people back to work, those that they laid off. They're really not looking at making big expansions. And I'll tell you something else. If you were to take all the EDCs, guys like me running around the nation, and you were to divide those into what they call significant moves, and that means an expansion that counted for 100 jobs, whether that's actually building a new facility or expanding an existing one, over 100 jobs or over $20 million, a significant move. There are about, if they split them up evenly amongst everybody, you get one of those about every 7 years. Now, we certainly want to beat that average, but that would be the average if all things being equal. Now, I want to tell you, we fared better than the average. Our unemployment rate is below the state, and the state's lower than the national average. All right? Our employment over the last year has run somewhere between about 6.5 and 7.5. This particular month, we got the numbers out this afternoon, so these are as accurate as you're going to get. We were at 7.1%, I believe. But we're in that 6.5, 7.5 every month. Now, I wanted to show you this. When you look at the number of people who are employed in Hopkins County, there's 16,684 according to the state on at the end of February 2010. 2009, 16,375. So we actually have more people working in Hopkins County today after a year of the recession. Now, the problem is our labor force has grown faster than our jobs have grown. Our labor force has grown from 17,975 to from 17,320. So it's about 650 or so new people, but we've only increased the number of jobs by about 200 and something. Now, that's really pretty good when you figure Flow Service had a layoff, Coca-Cola's had layoffs, and there have been a lot of smaller numbers scattered through all of the businesses. To think that we've actually had a net gain in the number of jobs and the number of people working. So, like I say, I think we've done better than the average. And, our sales tax is down about, for the EDC is about $36,000 for this period compared to last year at this time. So that means us in the county are about $36,000. The city gets twice as much money, so it's $72,000. But what I'm telling you here is we're still spending money, and it's because we're still working. Okay? And I think the reason for that is because we're heavy in food manufacturing. And even though things have not been rosy around the world, we're still eating sausage biscuits around here. We're still drinking milk. We're still drinking coffee, so we got to have our half and half and our International Delight. We're still eating ice cream. We're still eating cottage cheese. Still drinking cranberry juice. So we're still doing all of those things, and that's keeping our people working, and that's keeping our economy in Hopkins County stable, I guess would be a good way to describe it. It's not growing rapidly, as you can see. It is growing a little bit because our number of jobs is up, but it's not growing like we would hope for it to be. And that's all I have prepared for you. I'll answer any questions you might have. Yes, sir?
Of those 16,684, what's the average annual income?
If you, and it's actually, what would, the average for, actually this 9-county area, if you were in I'm sorry. If you were in a metropolitan statistical area, which we're not, there would be numbers for our county individually. The closest number we can get is for Northeast Texas, which starts in Hopkins County and goes to Texarkana. And in that area, the average salary is, well, it's $15 and a few cents per hour. And I would lie to you if I tried to tell you what that is per year, but it's about $15 an hour is the average pay.
My next question is that the companies you're pursuing, is those that have that range?
So we try, and that's the big word is try, to find companies that are going to pay that or better. Because we don't want to do anything to lower our standard, because if you do that, you're not growing the pie. Why they came, I assume it's because they felt like the market was here. As far as us having anything to do with it, no, other than they called me and asked me about some different sites, but no, we didn't, no incentives, no anything. They felt like, and you'll find, when you, in Mansfield, right, where I came from, we actively recruited retail there. We didn't give them any incentives, but we actively recruited them. And what you'll find with the Walgreens, the Applebee's, the IHOPs, the chains, the Walmarts, the Targets, all of those, they have a model that says you have to have so many people making so much money within so many miles of this site for it to make money. Now, if you fit into that model, there is not a rule or regulation that a city or county can come up with that they won't live up to, because they know they can sell enough of their widgets there to pay for it. If you don't fit into that model, there isn't enough money in America to get them to build a store that they know is going to fail. So a lot of times people talk about, well, we recruited this big retailer in here, or we did this or we did that to make retail happen. My experience has been, and we actively recruited it, they don't happen. Now I'll give you an example. When I was in Mansfield, a guy called me up, a friend of mine, and said, hey, can I come talk to you about a new company coming to town? And I thought we were talking basic jobs or primary employment. When he got there, he says, I want to talk to you about a new Lowe's Home Improvement Center coming to town. And I said, well, okay. And he told me where he's going. I said, well, good. The water's there, the street's there, everything's there. You're ready to go. He says, well, I need my sales tax back for 20 years, which is the big incentive. And believe me, if you give your sales tax away on a retail deal, that's really all the community gets is the sales tax, because there's very little ad valorem tax there. I said, well, I'm sorry, we just don't do that. Well, we talked about the Rangers or something for a little while, and he comes back and he says, well, Roger, we're going to have it for at least 10 years. And I said, well, gosh, I wish I could help you. We just don't do that. He asked me a third time. He says, well, I'm telling you, we're going to have to rethink this whole prospect. And I said, well, you got to do whatever you got to do, all right? He got up and left. Folks, I'm telling you, they may have rethought it, but they didn't think long, because within 6 weeks, they were pushing dirt and pouring concrete. The decision was already made, and what they were trying to do was hijack us for some incentives. And that's what I mean. When you meet their criteria, whatever it is, you can't keep them out. So incentives for retail just doesn't work, and that's another reason you just don't do it. It's just giving money away, and And I mean, communities do it, and it's a decision for board members and for councils to make, not for me. But I can tell you what my experience has been, and that's what it's been.